Hello everyone, PallyTime here. I am officially kicking off my Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn coverage. A lot of you know I was a completely avid Final Fantasy XI player, and when 14 was originally released, I got really excited about it and was unfortunately let down in almost every area. It was a very pretty game, but it just didn't have any substance, and coming from a game like Final Fantasy XI, which basically was, in my opinion, one of the most hardcore MMOs you can play as far as how much commitment it took to play that game, as far as how much depth that game had. It was not a fun experience moving on to 14, but the developers decided to go back and redo it, and thus we have a Realm Reborn. Now, this first video is just a benchmark. I'm seeing how well my rig can hold up to not only playing Final Fantasy XIV, but also recording Final Fantasy XIV. I am using Fraps to record this, which takes up a lot of your computer's resources, so it's pretty understandable that my score right now could be significantly higher if I was not recording. And I know something like this will not interest everybody, but for those of you who want to see what the game actually looks like, this is a good indicator of that. This is not a cinematic. Yes, we're getting some very cinematic camera angles, and I really doubt there's going to be a herd of chocobo running through your screen like that on a normal basis. But this is all in-game rendering. The whole point of this program is to put your rig to the test, put your computer to the test, and see how well it does. So I will say, during that scene with all the chocobos running a few seconds ago, that is the lowest my frame rate got throughout this entire test. It got down to about 15 frames while recording with Fraps, and that's good and dandy, but if you don't know what my system specifications are, it doesn't do you much good. But before we get into that, look at this boss. This boss is at least modeled in the game, and he looks fantastic. The spell effects that he's doing is absolutely incredible. It's one thing that I've always loved about Final Fantasy games. The visuals are just stunning, and having them in an MMO environment just adds so much immersion to a player like me. It's such a good thing to see. But I will be putting my computer specs in the video description below, just in case you're curious. I'll also provide a link if you guys would like to download this benchmark and test your computer out. So in this benchmark so far, we saw a boss fight, obviously. We saw a little bit of the mounts in this game. And I can't talk about too much of what was in the beta, so I'm going to be kind of talking about how I plan on covering this game, as well as what I intend to do with it post-release, once the game is officially out. This is one of the starting cities, by the way, that you can choose to go into. Kind of reminds me of Windurst from 11. But I am planning on gathering up as much information as I can, kind of similar to what I was doing for Elder Scrolls Online, and just presenting it to you guys to make you more knowledgeable about what Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn has to offer. That way you can make a educated decision on whether or not it is worth your money. I am personally going to be giving them all of my monies. But don't let my opinion change your opinion, just solely based on that. You need facts. You need to be an educated buyer, an educated customer. So, after release, it is very, very likely that we will be making a PallyTime, Mukau Wolf and Friends and Sand link shell. I don't know if we're going to stick with that name. I don't know if they'll even allow that many characters, but I definitely want a place for all the Pally Bros to come together, have a nice guild, work together, and just help add to the community, help make the community even better, because that's something about the Final Fantasy XI that kept me interested so long. Everyone in that game was just absolutely nice, and you were basically forced to work together. It was a very group-heavy game, and that made that MMO have one of the best communities I've ever seen, and I really want to translate that over to Final Fantasy XIV. And as you all know, we are just all upstanding gentlemen here, so I don't think that'll be too hard to do. But there you go, guys. This was the benchmark for Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button below. Let me know if you're interested in this game down in the comments, and if you're new to this channel, you better hit that subscribe button. This gravy train is only getting started.